Lester has been playing guitar for a while, but he started a little differently. You didn't have lessons, did you, when you started?
I have never had lessons. I've been kind of a self-taught musician, and actually have used the TV starting as a kid in learning how to play. My dad used to work the second shift, and he was at the school district, and I would take his guitar out of the case, and no one was home, so we were kind of entertaining ourselves, and I would turn on the TV. We didn't have cable back in that time. We had Able. That was what you were able to get on the TV. And we would adjust the rabbit ears and the foil on top of the rabbit ears to get the TV to come in pretty strong. And we were able to get Hee Haw and the Grand Ole Opry and a lot of those shows. And so I would literally take my dad's guitar and do what I thought they were doing on TV. And it wasn't until several years later that I recognized that that they were holding the guitar this direction, and when I'm watching it on TV as a little kid, I was interpreting that they were holding it this direction.
My goodness.
And so I would just emulate everything I thought I saw Chet Atkins doing, or Buck Owens, or Roy Clark, or Grandpa Jones, String Bean, all of those guys from the day. I know the demographics, it doesn't fit, but I still to this day love just to hear that type of music, and that's how I got started.
That on those Saturday afternoon,
yeah,
like from 4 o'clock to
absolutely.
6
Well,
o'clock.
they switched the time as the show progressed. It used to be on in the middle of the week.
Oh, that's right. And they had things like
Yeah,
Country Gold or something like that.
a lot of that in the early
70s.
70s, yeah, it would have been 70s, because I was about 9 to 10 years old learning. So, and my dad, he used to play with his thumb, and so he had open tunings. This one's
See, he didn't complain about tuning. He just tuned.
my dad would play with his. He was a pastor of a church, and so he played the guitar, and then he was a great pianist, and so he played with his thumb, and so that's how I was trying to do it. And I never could figure out how you couldn't go faster with the thumb, because he would like a song like "When the Saints Go Marching In." When the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in, oh Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in. And Dad would play that all the time, and I was like, man, you're not going to go very fast that way. But that's how I actually got started, and kind of picked up as the early days of Phil Kagi. He was doing the open tuning, but he just changed one string in there and made that a G instead of more of a Celtic tuning, D-A-D, G-A-D.
Is it that Gad?
Dadgad. And so when I got turned on to that, I was like, well, this is great. It has a little flavor of what my dad used, and it also has just one string I have to worry about. So then at that point, then it became the structure of trying to come up with what chord works. And I love jazz guitar, so how to pull jazz flavors out of a Celtic tuning for a black musician that plays in predominantly Caucasian venues, and it just had all these dynamics to it. And so I started actually just listening to more of that, and so I'll give you just a little of like "'Tis So Sweet." a lot of the 9th chords, the 13th chords.
How did you learn these chords?
Again, it's watching TV, listening to. Got a great ear. I don't read much music, but I've been blessed to just pick up. That's why when Ron was doing his cannonball, that's going to be my effort this afternoon. I'm going to go back to task to learn. But I've got a great ear, and as time has gone on now, a lot of the information is on the internet, and you can pick up all kinds of chord structures. And I think I tend to play more by position than I do looking at chords or notes. I know what feels good. I know what sounds good, kind of in the sense of texture. And that's kind of some of the things that I do with this guitar.
What was your first guitar?
Oh, wow. It was borrowed my dad's. And he had an old guitar that he had bought at TG&Y. And,
what is TG&Y?
TG&Y used to be a department store back in the day. In fact, they used to have it on 63rd Shawnee Mission Parkway. But he had bought an old guitar. I can't imagine it costing any more than about $50, $60. And I was able, my dad passed away in early 2000. And I was able to find that in storage and get that out of storage. So
Where was it stored?
My dad had, my mom had put just everything in a storage bin there, and just had never went back and picked up all of the things from my dad, clothes and all the other little stuff, and she wasn't quite ready to move on to that area, and I was able to get that particular guitar, and he actually had a couple of guitars he had gotten, so...
Was it still playable?
It's not playable, but it still has a lot of sentimental value to me.
Did you put it on?
Oh yeah, it's on the wall, one of those displays. Yeah. But there was a lady that used to go to my dad's church, Virginia Allen, and she played one of these large Gibsons. And as a kid growing up, that was one of the influences I had, because him being a pastor, you didn't listen to a lot of music that was other than a lot of Christian music. And back then they didn't have...
it's called gospel back
then. It's called gospel. And the Wes Montgomery and the George Benson and Earl Clue and a lot of those guys that were doing music, they didn't make it on the channels that we were to listen to. So she became an inspiration. She had to be about 70 years old, and she had one of those large Gibson guitars, and she would come. She was deaf in one ear, and was kind of hard of hearing in the other ear, but she'd bring her guitar every Sunday, and I get a chance to listen to her play, and I'd be trying to play along with her and everything, and she was just a great inspiration, and her nickname was Little Bit.
Little Bit.
So I said once I get a little older, I wanted to find a guitar kind of similar to the one that she played that was a great inspiration, and several years ago I was down at Mass Street Music and found this 1948 sitting in the back with Jim had it back there in the back of one of his had it in the back of one of his storage areas there, and we pulled it out, and someone had been using this. It's an L4 1948. They've been using it for a slide guitar, and they had just kind of beat it up pretty bad and everything. And I told them, I said, this would be a great inspiration piece for me. So I went ahead and picked it up, and to this day, this is where I go right back to basics and do a lot of writing, and it just puts me back to that era of Virginia Allen, my dad, and a lot of those things that I think are very important for a foundation for me.
It's a beautiful guitar.
Well, good for you. How long did you have your first guitar?
Oh, wow. I think I bought my first guitar...
before you changed guitar.
I bought my first guitar from J.C. Penney's.
No kidding.
It was a copy. It was a copy of a 335. I don't even remember the name of it. It must be Global or something. Or was it? Yeah. It was a burgundy guitar, and I played that until I got a PV. Wow. Now you're making me go back here. And I think 1980 I bought my first PV T60 electric guitar, and it had all of the whistles and bells. Tone knobs were new for me.
Tone knobs.
Split phase and all the little buttons that were on
you
that.
went all out.
Oh yeah.